Hey guys, welcome to Chapo Productions. My name is Chase Polk. In this video, I'm going to show you some beginner piano exercises to get you started. The first exercises are pentascale exercises or 5-finger scale exercises. You're going to start with your hands in C position. So that means I've got my thumb or first finger on middle C. Okay, you can find middle C by the C that's closest to the middle of the keyboard, but also closest to the name of the piano. Now your left hand, your pinky, is going to be on bass C, or the C right below middle C. Okay, we're going to start on the bottom, and we're going to go up together. Now, if this is difficult, you can try starting with one hand at a time. So you can do your right hand first. Okay, we're just going to go up and back down, and then your left hand. Okay, and when you feel comfortable, we want to do them together in what we call parallel motion. So parallel motion means that we're going the same direction. With all my exercises I'm going to show you, we're going to do them at least 3 times when you practice. It's a nice sounding number when you play it, and also it's a lot easier to just do it 3 times than 20 times. I want to make something that's easy enough that you can do it every day. If it's too many times, it might be too overwhelming for you to do it. So, once, twice, 3 times. Okay? Now, the proper technique is to play on the sides of your thumbs and actually on the tips of your fingers. So you want to think about your fingers pointing straight down to the floor. At first, this might be difficult, so don't get too hung up on it. Just know that eventually that's where you want to be. But just getting started is what we want to do. Okay, so now the next one, which might be easier, is called contrary motion. So contrary motion or mirror image, now instead of playing the same note, going the same direction, we're going to play the same finger, going the opposite direction. So we're going to start on both of our 5th fingers, or pinkies, and we're going to go towards each other. Okay, you want to make sure that you go as slow as you need to, that everything's sounding good. Don't try to go super fast and be messy. I've got some students that will do that, and it's not doing them any favors to do it like that, okay? You want to go nice and slow, and don't worry so much about keeping a steady rhythm at first, but that's eventually where you want to go. So those are the first 2 pentascales. We've got the parallel and the contrary motion. Okay, now the third one is much more difficult. So if the first 2 still seem hard, work on those until, I like to say, to check in with yourself from a number from 1 to 10, 10 being impossible and 1 being cake. How does it feel? Does it feel like a 10? Because then you shouldn't be moving on. If it feels like a 7, you probably shouldn't be moving on. If it feels like a 3 or 4, then you're probably ready to start moving on. Okay? So I'm going to show you this one. It is harder than the other ones, but it's really not that hard when you break it down. I've got 6-year-old students that have done this, and they play it really well. With this one, it's like a mixture of contrary and parallel motion. So my right hand's going to go the normal one. And my left hand's going to now start in the middle, go down, and then end in the middle. So you might want to practice your left hand first, like that. And it's going to sound like this. Okay? Now, when I was younger, I used to think, oh, I'm just going to learn the right hand really well, and I'm going to learn the left hand really well, and just kind of shove them together. But that doesn't work out super great. It's better to just break it down and really figure out what's doing what and when. So we can work through this real slow. So we start at the beginning, and we're going to go apart 2. Now we're going to go up 2. We're going to go towards each other, and then down 2. Okay, so you start, go apart 2, up 2, together 2, down 2. And again, you're going to do this one 3 times in a row when you get there. Okay, great. So if that one wasn't too difficult for you, now you're definitely ready for the next one. It's really the same thing, but we're switching the roles of the hands. So now the left hand's gonna do the regular parallel, and the right hand's gonna do the starting on the third finger. So I call this one C major pentascale, left hand, third finger starts. And this one is C major pentascale, right hand, third finger starts. So again, practice that maybe by itself until that starts to feel like not too difficult. And then we're gonna put them together. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna play the first note, walk you through this here. We're gonna go together two, up two, apart two, and down two. Okay, so it's together two, up two, apart two, down two. And that's going to be 3 times as well. Okay? So those are the pentascale exercises. Now, if those are still difficult, just stay there. I mean, I would recommend doing the first 2. Those are pretty much equal difficulty. Doing those for a while until you feel like you can play relatively steady and all your fingers are kind of doing what you want them to do. When you are ready though, the next step would be playing the full scale, okay? I should do a video about the process for learning, but I'm gonna do a quick summary here. Basically, you're gonna make sure you do the right notes with the right fingers. That's step 1. Are you playing the right notes? Are you playing the right fingers? Notes are very important, obviously, to get right. Fingers are important later on when we're trying to play legato or we're trying to play quickly. The fingerings can be really important, okay? Next step is the rhythm. You wanna make sure you're playing the right rhythm. Are you playing quarter notes? Are you playing eighth notes? If they're all quarter notes, they should all be equal. Okay, so you want to be intentional about your rhythm. The next step is tempo. Put on a metronome and set it to something easy and start with quarter notes. So you're gonna go, so whatever it is, I'm at, here I'll go to 100. That's a probably decent beginner. Keep a little journal and you can say, okay, I did it at 100. Now I'm going to do it at 101 or 105, however you want to do it. That's step 3. And after that, you've got dynamics you can play with. So I can play it piano or forte. I could crescendo. Or step 5 is articulations. You can practice making sure you're doing legato. Now legato kind of should be your default, but if in the music it says there's a slur, then you really should make sure you're playing legato. Okay, and then you've got staccato. And you've got all the combinations that you can play around with just those 2 exercises, okay? So those are the 5 steps. You learn the notes and the fingers, you work on the rhythm with a metronome, you speed up the metronome, see how fast you can go or how fast the piece needs to be. Then you do the dynamics and then you do the articulations. You don't necessarily have to do those all in that order, but I would definitely suggest notes and fingers and rhythm. And then if you want to do the articulations and the dynamics right away, if it's an easy song, that's not really that big of a deal. The more difficult a piece comes, the more important this is, or the more helpful this is. So that's the first set of exercises, the pentascale exercises. You've got the parallel and the contrary, and then you've got the left hand third finger starts and the right hand third finger starts, okay? So if that's jiving with you, then we want to move on to the full scale. Now the full scale is 8 notes. Now if we had 8 fingers, that'd be nice and easy, right? But we don't. So we're gonna break it up into 3 plus 5, okay? 3 plus 5 equals 8. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna cross under my thumb, and then from here it's just easy. And then on the way back down, third finger over thumb. So thumb under third, third over thumb. Okay? Now the left hand is just the opposite. Left hand goes all of your fingers and then you cross. And then we're gonna cross here. Okay? So what happens to a lot of people with this one is they'll do this. and then they'll get off. So especially if you're right-handed, us right-handed people, we have a little bit more issue with our left hand. You want to make sure that you're G on the way up with your thumb and G on the way down. Okay, so you want to practice those separately at whatever tempo you need to, and if you have to pause, you know, pause if you need. You want to make sure you're doing the right fingers and the right notes. Okay, then when you're ready, you want to put them together, okay? So the first 3 notes are easy. What's hard about this is when your right hand crosses when your left isn't crossing, or vice versa. So you just want to break it down. So you can just go up to that point of difficulty and do that. You know, you're breaking it down. Work on that as many times as you need. Okay, make a little exercise. I always would make exercises out of things, make a little song out of it. Whatever you want to do. Okay, then from there, that's pretty easy, right? No crossing. And then after this, we've got another tricky spot. So we got our left hand crossing. But what's kind of nice is we're playing both of our third fingers. So that kind of feels good. Now from here, just finish it out on the way back down. Okay, this is where people often do that, so try to resist that. We're gonna cross. Okay, and when you get that, eventually you want to see if you can play it nice and steady. And eventually you want to do it 3 times in a row. And then so on and so forth with the metronome and the tempo, and you can play around with the dynamics and the articulations as well. Okay, so that's the second group of exercises. I'll give you one more thing. So now, if you're having an issue with this, there's another exercise that often I don't do, but if someone's having an issue with it, this can be really helpful. So it's actually Chick Corea is a famous jazz pianist who I learned about these mirror exercises. So mirror exercises are a way to strengthen anything you want to do on the piano. So you just start kind of like with the contrary, but now you're starting on C. And now, what's nice about this is I'm crossing at the same time. So if you want to go one hand at a time and then go this exercise, in between, putting them 2 hands together, it might be helpful, but I don't know that it's necessarily needed, but knock yourself out if you want to try it. Okay, then the next one is an arpeggio. We're going to do a basic cross hand thing here. This one's actually not too difficult. So all these exercises are in the same position. So we got skip, skip. So we're going to skip a white note, skip a white note, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with my right hand. Okay, so, okay, and I'm going to cross over with my second finger. That's the finger you're gonna usually cross over with, okay? Whenever you do a cross on the piano. And then you just go back down. Okay, and you're gonna do that 3 times. Okay? Again, with this one, eventually you're going to be doing this with a triplet feel, but start off with quarter notes. So you just, every time there's a click, you play a note. Very simple. Building that rhythm. Okay, work on that one. Then finally, we're going to do just a 1-4-1-5-7 progression in C major. And it's got kind of a funky chord in it, but it's good to work your fingers, so you'll see what I mean. So the first chord is just a C major. So we're going to do that. We're going to use this fingering. This is the proper fingering for doing a C major. Okay? And we're going to go to an F chord, okay? But we're not going to play this F chord. And I'm going to talk about inversions in another video, but just know that this is the same chord here. And you can see I'm just moving this C down here. Okay, so that's an F chord. That's a 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we're going back to the C. Okay? Okay, and the 5/7 chord is this. It's a 5/7 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from the G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and well, we're dropping the 5. And then we are moving these two just below the G. See? Same notes, just in a different order, same chord, okay? So it goes 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 1. This fingering's pretty, most people don't have an issue with this, but if we look on the left hand, oftentimes people do this, okay? And that's gonna cause extra tension that you don't need, so you just wanna actually do that. Okay? Now you wanna practice these separately as much as you need to before they feel good. And then you wanna put them together. Now this is pretty easy, but what a lot of people do is they wanna do this. They wanna move that over. So that's kind of the trickiest part about this. So you just practice this. You can just practice these two chords. Just practice these two chords for a while. And then, so we're gonna do this 3 times in a row. And you don't have to end it like that. I just... Okay. And those are my beginner piano exercises that I do with all my students. The way that you're gonna progress through those is you're gonna start with quarter notes, and a quarter note is just gonna be what the metronome is. So if I'm playing quarter notes, I'm just playing with the metronome. Once you get that up, so you're gonna be working that up, once you get that up to maybe 160, something like that. Then you're ready to do subdivision, okay? So all you do, then you take that 160 divided by 2, so you get 80. Now I'm gonna play the exact same thing, but now I'm adding that extra click in my mind. But it's not a technical thing I'm working now. Now I'm working on the subdivision. We worked on the technical, now we're working on the subdivision. Now every other. Okay, and you do that with every exercise. Right, and then that exercise and okay, yeah, so now for the triplet, I'll show you this for the arpeggio. So now we're gonna go 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. So the way to think about this is the C's line up. So make sure you got that. And everything else fits in between. Good. Now, for the chords, when you first start those, let's say you're back at 100, I'd say do half notes. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when you get up to, if you get up to 160, then divide it into 2, and you're at 80, now you're gonna be doing quarter notes. All right, well, I hope this helps. And if you would like to schedule a lesson, you can contact me. I'm offering Skype lessons online. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. All right, see you next time.